Good afternoon and welcome. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Catherine Hodek. I'm the Sales and Marketing Coordinator here at Team Logic. We are thrilled to have you with us today, and we've got Cody from Mailprotector who's going to talk you through all kinds of wonderful benefits for having Mailprotector. But first, let me start by introducing Todd. I'm sure every single one of you on the call knows Todd, but if you don't, he is the president of Team Logic North Bay of San Francisco, and our fearless leader. And this is a series that we're doing fairly regularly now where we're presenting webinars that we think might be of interest to our clients, our prospects, things like that. So if you know of anyone who would like to attend these webinars, please do let me know and I can add them to that list. Without further ado, I will let Todd take the lead. As you can see, we are recording this session, and at the end, I will be doing a drawing for a pair of AirPods. So stay on the call. You have to be present to win. So without further ado, Todd, over to you.
Hey, thanks everybody. Uh, we're introducing Mailprotector as a major partner of ours. And most of you may not know this, but we've been doing business together for just about a year now, coming up on a year. And it's been quite impressive. And their latest development is with a product called Shield that Cody's going to be presenting. We, as a IT service provider, have been using it for some time now, and I can testify that my inbox is a lot tamer. I think I had was getting well over 200 a day, and using my eyes as the filter instead of actually having some rules set up for fear of missing an email of some kind. And my inbox has been totally tamed. I'm down to just the emails from people I'm connected with, a lot of the marketing, and as a business owner, I get targeted with a lot of sales and marketing, and I can get those all bundled and organized, and all the spam just filtered out. It's been a great experience, and I really hope that a lot of our majority of our clients can get this experience for themselves. So super excited to introduce Cody. He's going to walk you through just what it means and the pivot in how the spam filtering is working nowadays in order to tame that inbox and have even better cybersecurity.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Todd. Yeah, I'll be cruising through presentation here, and then we'll be happy to answer any Q&A at the end. And I'm happy to share screens, show you anything you'd like. I have the whole product up here, demo environments and everything. So feel free to take this time and dig in after the presentation portion as well. So I'll go ahead and share, and let's dive right in. So. Awesome. So I think we all can agree that today email feels broken. It's a tool that we don't necessarily want to use all the time. I even myself would schedule about an hour at the end of every day to go through my email, to sift through things. And as Todd said, kind of mentally filter out things I didn't want. Everyone's offering you new leads. People are offering you fancy stuff for your businesses to make everything better and button up all the problems you've ever had. And we all know 99% of that is all junk. So email just feels like a chore today. And with email being broken, we had to think of a solution. I would be sitting at my desk and I'd all of a sudden, start trying to do something useful, and I'd get an email from Dan. And then I'd go check on Dan because I know Dan and he's important. And then while I'm talking about Dan, I'm getting invited to a random meeting or something like that that I didn't ask to be invited to. And then all of a sudden I have 4, 5, 6 emails, and something that should have taken a few minutes has now piled up into 15, 20, 30 minutes because I'm just getting interrupted and distracted all the time. So that is a huge part of what's wrong with email today, is that it is more of a distraction than a useful tool for many, many people. Now, the second issue we have to address, and what most filters are trying to address today, is that almost all cyber attacks are done through email or initiated with email. So they gain contacts, they gain information, they see who's available, who's responding, there's a million different ways aside from just having them click on things, which people will also do, to get people engaged. Now, if someone does click on something, the average time it takes for someone to be compromised is less than a minute. This is data from multiple sources, but Verizon's the one we pull from because they do some of the most comprehensive studies. And this part of security is critical. So we have to deal with, hey, this is very noisy, and we don't want to get the noisy stuff, but we also want to be dealing with the security part. And the real reason these both are an issue is because email has a trust problem. Email was built on a system where everything was let in because we want to get information, we want to be communicating, that's all positive. And today email's still on that specific protocol or that specific through line of, hey, people want this information, people are going to be wanting to get email, let's trust everything and then try and pick out the bad stuff. Now, at Mailprotector, we tried to ask ourselves, how do we get here? Where did we start? Why are we in our current state? Why is email so cumbersome? And really, it starts with something that was very simple. The ARPA computer network is a very interesting network. It's one of the first ones that was ever established. And you can see that these are all colleges or major hubs where information would pass through. So if Susie was sending an email from MIT to Bob at Stanford, the only people on the network communicating between MIT and Stanford were Bob and Susie. So Bob knew he wanted to open that email from Susie because it had to be Susie. There were only 100 or 200 people on the network total, so those 100 or 200 people were all academics or people who wanted to be speaking to each other. So this is what email was built on, was this tiny network communicating back and forth. Well, the problem is the internet got invented and everybody has access to the network now. Everyone's on the network and email never really changed. It said anybody on the network wants to communicate, so let's leave it all open. So this is the issue today we're trying to address because email's still living in the past with where it started. And as IT professionals and even people who aren't IT professionals who are trying to solve this problem of cleaning out things, making things easier to see, easier to work with, we tried to add subject tagging to emails. And this is when they put the word external at the top, or they say not from this organization, or something along those lines. And this works for a short period of time, but eventually people learned, hey, 99% of my email is external. Internal to internal communication never really was the issue. It's all the external stuff. And this was meant to make you pause for a second, evaluate the email, but eventually it becomes white noise. So we implemented something a little noisier so it wouldn't get tuned out, which is static email banners. And this is that yellow banner that was below, which a lot of people's eyes just glossed over naturally. Mine did. I didn't even notice this was here the first time I presented this. So the static email banners are something people would constantly tune out as well, and put a big warning on there and caution, and they change they would adjust sizes of things and where it's at in the email. And honestly, when this was implemented for me and when I ran things for customers, most of my customers reached out to me and said, hey, how do we this new thing's at the top of my email, how do I get rid of it? It's really annoying. So this was more noise on top of noise, and it again, people just tune it out or scroll past it. So we get rid of those two. So what do we have next is block lists. And people want to have control over their email, but the crux of the issue with block lists is you could be communicating with someone and then not want to communicate with them, or in the future you want to communicate with them again. And we're also putting the onus on normal people who aren't uh, sitting in the environment of bad actors and bad people trying to compromise you, making the choice. So we're relying on non-technical people to evaluate a technical situation and then block these senders moving forward. And it's a lot of work. I think everyone has the pop-ups happen and things like that when they're kind of trying to get through their email, whether they want something or don't want it. And this just becomes something that slows you down as well. So many different facets of why the block system tends to not work. So the goal of Shield, which is the product we're presenting today, is to reset trust to zero. Shield is something that said, hey, the ARPA network was great. You could trust everybody. We've expanded to the internet, and now we really need to not trust anybody and start focusing on what good emails look like and only letting those emails through. So we are flipping the security model on its head. Instead of saying everything's good, let's pick out the bad stuff. We're going to say everything's bad. Let's pick out the good stuff, because we're finding most people only communicate with, between 25 and 50 people at any one time during the week. And there's no reason for them to be getting 200, 300, 400 emails from all different people if they only actually want to communicate with 25 people. So resetting trust is a security model, or zero trust security model is something that's been around for a long time. A lot of people attribute this to firewalls, which was the first one where it would say only information from specific people will come through to enter our computer network. So the idea is to bring this to an email platform. And today, Shield is the only platform that has this methodology applied to it, because it's really difficult to work with email. A lot of people use it as their primary communication tool. It's still the number one communication tool used today. So if it gets disrupted or interrupted, it's very difficult. So people have avoided dealing with dealing with it, or dealt with it in the most light touch way possible. So So that covered a lot of information very quickly. The idea behind Shield was to provide one, tools for end users to interact with something to create a zero trust environment, as well as not be too interruptive or too disruptive when it's implemented. So a lot of the issues with the zero trust security model are that it is cumbersome or a lot of work when it starts. And getting over that hurdle was something we've spent the last 3 or 4 years on, and working to get it to the place it is now, where people like Todd and other providers, many other people, thousands of domains at this point, are happily using it and not feeling this huge disruption. So to go over some of this stuff, we'll go ahead and cruise on along. So the first thing I want to talk about is trusting and silencing. So when you receive email from people and you communicate with people commonly, what Shield will do is it will slowly begin to trust those people, and you'll be able to mark the people that you do trust and don't trust. Now, that doesn't mean that they're always going to get through. If someone's sending you bad stuff or compromised or anything like that, Shield's still going to stop that. But what this does is it says people who you commonly communicate with will land in your inbox, and you will want to read those emails from them. On the flip side, you can silence people. And what that means is they will either go to your junk, your deleted folder, or to jail, which is Shield's quarantine, so that you don't see those emails, or those emails are in a different spot for you to review later. So the idea is Shield's going to look at your inbox right when it's deployed, see who you almost always communicate with, add those people to trust, see who the people you've never communicated with or you've ignored or who keep going to junk, and put those people to be silenced. So the idea is to create this again. And the idea is if Susie's talking to, Bob, MIT to Stanford, they are on each other's trust networks, so they land in their inbox, and everybody else that's outside and on the internet gets ignored, put into junk, or kept outside of the mailbox altogether. Now, Shield utilizes targeted intelligence. And the idea behind this is we get a lot of information with Shield from your past emails and emails that are currently coming in and the information that you typically interact with. So Shield gets to learn from all of those, and we have very specifically trained intelligence models to look at those types of communication. So we have hyper-focused trained artificial intelligence that we've been building for, once again, about 4 years on billions of emails. So it's very specific and it learns very quickly. The idea behind this is to build you and your individual mailbox a profile so that you have your own individual AI making decisions based on the profile it's built for you. Now, we know that nothing's 100%. Everyone can sit here and say it's going to work all the time, but we wanted to build something kind of to fill a small gap. The email security briefing is something that you're going to get daily. So once per day, it will tell you which new people have come in who you've never communicated with, and you can review that in one big list, tell us who to trust, who to silence, and she will learn from that. And then if anyone you've trusted gets caught up in the system, so let's say you've talked to them before, but Shield believes they sent malware or virus, or they're trying to phish you, something more malicious, that will get stopped up in jail. Shield will notify you that, hey, someone who you trust got stopped up. We don't want you to miss this email, but we believe it is threatening. So it's going to recognize who you communicate with and tell you when that would get caught up in the system, which most other systems don't tell you about that. Next, Shield has a very immediate impact, and we want to share that with you. So it does have statistics around who you've trusted, who's silenced, and how many emails you've gotten, which ones have been blocked, which ones haven't, and things like that, so that you know how much time and effort Shield is putting into making sure your day goes smoothly. The next thing that gets added is what we call the heads-up display. This changes for every single email, and it gives you quick insights into what Shield evaluated with the email. So Shield isn't saying something's good or bad. It's actually grading it to really simplify it on a 0 to 10 scale, and then telling you where on that scale it fell, whether it's a low risk, a moderate risk, or a high risk. And these will change and notify you for every email. You can also click on the HUD and it will lead you to X-ray. X-ray is a safe preview environment, so you can look at the email, you can go to the links on that email, you can do whatever you want within X-ray. And X-ray will open these things up, let you view them, and you can decide if you want them or not. X-ray has been designed for end users, so non-technical people, to evaluate their own email. This speeds things up, it reduces the need for back and forth communication, and it just really helps narrow things down quickly. So all of the language is designed around end users or non-technical people. So you'll see each one of these tiles is 2 to 3 words, very quickly describes what Shield found. And if you click on one of the tiles, it will give you much more detail if you need that detail. Now, the other tab that I alluded to was the links. Shield does deep link analysis or link sandboxing. So what this does is it clicks on a link, follows that link to its eventual end, and then provides you the link of where it ends up. So for example, I had one where I wasn't 100% sure last week. I clicked on one of the links within X-ray and it led to a French login. I'm not French, I don't speak French. I might one day, but not today. So I knew that that immediately wasn't something I wanted to interact with, despite it looking like something I maybe wanted to. So X-ray is very good at providing you the information, once again, in a safe environment. Shield's also going to check files for malicious payloads and things like that. So, we're making sure files are safe before they reach your inbox as well. The other tabs on X-ray are more detailed information. I'll say most of the time, I don't know that I've ever had an end user click into these. This is DNS information, evaluations from Shield, who's getting the email, all very technical details. And then Shield's also tracking where each individual email ends up in your mailbox, why it ended up there, and then one, changing its choice in the future, potentially of why that email got there, or two, giving us the information as administrators about why an email ended up so we can potentially fix a problem much faster. So technical issues with Shield tend to get resolved a lot quicker as well, if an issue is run into. The other tool that I want to highlight here is Spotlight. Everyone gets access to this. It is a search tool. I think we've all bumped into Outlook's search tool being not very good at finding email. Shield will go back 30 days for inbound email, and it will go back up to 1 year for sent email. So you can search through your inbox, and it will also connect related emails and things like that as well. So potentially getting emails outside that 1 month window. You can use Spotlight to search through your inbox for the emails you want, click on them, find them in X-ray, and then you can tell it move it to the top of my inbox, and it will move that email so that you can see it. So extremely useful and just makes finding things you need to very quickly. I use this every day individually, let alone as an administrator. So very, very useful. As I've mentioned, Shield is constantly adapting, and it's adapting on an individual mailbox level. So a lot of tools today, pretty much every other tool that I can think of, works on a domain level or across your entire organization. Shield's making choices at a individual user level because, Mikey, who's in marketing, wants bulk emails and things like that to learn from, whereas I'm in IT. I don't need bulk emails and things like that. Or, maybe Josh wants to sign up for a forum, and Josh wants those forum emails. But if I got offered that forum email, I would be annoyed. So Shield's learning individually for people who are at the same company who want different things, what they want as individuals. So, yes. So today we currently have a trust problem, and it's that every other email filter trusts everything and tries to find the bad stuff. Shield provides a email security reset where we only find what you want and we provide you what you need and say that everything else is unwanted. So, awesome. Cool. If there are any questions or anything like that, you can put them in the Q&A. You can also put them in the chat. I can check to see if anything pops up. I'm happy to answer them and share my screen, show you things within Shield as well if anything comes up. So I don't know, Catherine, did anyone ask anything along the way?
No, there were no questions so far. So
Okay.
any other questions that you all would like to know? Did Cody do such a great job? He explained it all in such detail.
Hey, Cody, I was wondering if you could show us an example of also a secure email send from your product bracket.
Yes, yeah, I can definitely show that. I do see one question. Is there any option
Yes.
to hide the banner? Yes, you can turn that off if you don't find it to be useful information. It will still provide a short text option at the top, but it's just it's literally one line of text saying Shield found this is low, medium, moderate, or high, just to give you the bare minimum since you've opted out of that. But yes, you can turn those off if you need to.
And John, do you want to know how to do that, or is it obvious to you how to do that?
So that would be these if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see if John responds to that. Okay.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Sweet. So in the interim, anybody has questions, anything comes up, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and share a different screen. So we're going to temporarily stop sharing, and then we'll go ahead and share my browser here. And
sorry, Cody, John had said, is that on an organizational level or an individual settings?
You would change it on the individual level. So you would go to your profile within Shield, and then you can change your profile settings. Typically, if like a lot of people want it, we'll make a quick like 1 minute video. You click on your profile, click on your settings, and then go say disable the HUD. So, but in general, not too many people disable it. Yeah. So cool.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Awesome. Sweet. So I did want to show off Bracket a little bit. It's a addition that you can add onto Shield. It's email encryption. It's also a potential standalone product if you just wanted to use Bracket encryption. But we're going to switch over to this mailbox, which is a lot prettier. So how Bracket works is it does AES 256 encryption. It's HIPAA compliant. It's compliant under a lot of different NIST categories as well. It's as secure as we can make it and as easy to use. So if I go ahead and send an email to someone who's never received a Bracket email, so I have made a mailbox for this, I simply put an open bracket and I can say, hello, Jim, and then a close bracket. And then I can attach files. I can do whatever I'd like. I can put information into the email. And then when I send this, it will be encrypted with Bracket. So when I hit send, it's going to encrypt that email with Bracket. Now, the idea behind Bracket is we wanted to make it as easy to use without leaving the individual's mailbox, as well as not having to go to a portal to actually initiate the Bracket send. So once I send that email, Jim should get it here within a few seconds. We do security checks to make sure you didn't send anything malicious and things like that. Also, if someone responds, every single response and attachment or anything like that that's sent through Bracket is checked from a security perspective as well with multiple scanning systems. So I simply sent that with brackets in the subject. We can see I hide the subject. It doesn't say good morning here. And it says you've received a message from Cody Eckel. And then Jim, who's never used Bracket before, can go ahead and select view message. Now, all within those couple seconds I was talking, Bracket created a license for Jim, created him an account, and allowed him to just access that account through the secure sign-in link. And what Bracket's doing is it's validating the person clicking on the link by registering their mailbox. So only Jim, under Jim's mailbox, logged into Jim's mailbox, can access this link to get into Bracket. And then the email that was originally sent is all kept within Bracket. So it never leaves the Bracket environment. We just simply distribute out sign-in links. People log in and they access that email in a secure environment. What this cuts out is passwords, which become cumbersome, and account creation, which is the other thing that is cumbersome about almost every other email encryption software. So we create the account for them using the email data, and we get rid of the password by leveraging the mailbox, which is typically behind a password and a MFA and potentially more layers of security. So for example, if you have Shield or another security provider, they would also be protecting your mailbox. So there's a lot more security behind your mailbox than there is behind one password or one account creation. So all in all, Bracket's extremely secure while maintaining this really easy to click. So now that I'm in here as Jim, I can see who owns the email. I can reply to this conversation and it creates more of an instant messaging feel. So, and Jim can reply to this email and it will pop up and it will refresh for Cody and Cody will see that Jim replied. And again, they can reply back and forth. I'm currently in here as Jim, so we can see I can request to add other people. I can delete this from my individual Bracket mailbox and I can reply. So this delete button doesn't delete it for everybody. It would just delete it for Jim. That's one thing I want to highlight. And then Jim gets his own Bracket inbox. So if I communicate with Jim a lot, all of Jim and I's Bracket conversations will be in here. The main thing Jim can't do is initiate a Bracket email, and that's because Jim doesn't own a Bracket license or have Bracket provided to him by an IT provider. So Jim simply gets to respond to what I'm able to provide. The other thing here, I'll go ahead and log out as Jim and kind of show off the features for the actual person who owns Bracket. I'll go ahead and log into Bracket this way. When Jim responded, I got a read receipt that Jim opened the email and then responded to the email. I can also just click view message and this logs me into Bracket as the person communicating. So again, just making it as easy as possible to access this email from your mailbox without adding a bunch of extra steps. So as the owner of Bracket, I can just add recipients. So if I wanted to add additional people, I can add more of my test accounts. And it will send that person an email that says, hey, Cody sent you a secure reply or a secure email. Please log in. So same as what Jim got. I can also remove people. So if I accidentally added Ray Guy or added too many people, I can just hit this little X and I can remove them. It will pull it out of their Bracket inbox and then ensure it stays in mine. Once again, I can reply to this email as the owner. I can recall the entire message, which is extremely useful. I think we've all sent emails in error, myself included, where you can click recall. It will pull it out of everybody's bracket inbox and your own. So this is something that you can do to pull it out of everybody's. And then we have additional options. I won't say these are used a ton, but they're here for very specific situations. You can protect the subject. You can get notifications when people reply. If it's a very noisy thread, a lot of people turn this off. You can add a password. If you want to add an additional layer of security, you can. And then you can cause this message to expire if you want to at a specific date and time. So by default, this will live for 1 year in the system. So on June 5th, 25th, 2026, this will be automatically deleted. If I wanted to delete it, let's say, I don't know, in 30 days, I could go to July 25th and then select 12 a.m. and now it will be automatically deleted from everybody's bracket 1 month from now. So very straightforward to add the expiration, add people, and then potentially remove replies and things like that. The other thing I wanted to show was, here we go, was you can actually remove individual responses as well. So Jim sent, I'm having a good morning. Let's say Jim said something I didn't like, or I'm feeling grumpy that day. I can actually recall his individual reply and remove it from the thread. It will reload it for everybody. And now we have 0 replies in here as if it never happened. So you can recall individual conversations, you can remove people, and you can recall the entire email. So many, many options to kind of flip out specific replies from people if you need to.
Cody, we have a question in the
Yeah.
chat. Does bracket come with the MP or is it an add-on product?
Todd, that may be a better question for you.
Yeah, it's an add-on product, and what we'll find is not every single user will want it or need it, but I would say predominantly business owners, finance, people are communicating sensitive information. It's definitely a very simple way to do it by just putting the subject in brackets. And on the other end, they don't need to have a license, as he showed you. They can just open it and get the information. So yeah, it's an add-on license, but it's by
Yep.
mailbox.
Yeah, so per mailbox for sure. Cool. Two final things I want to add. This bracket, so bracket.email, once you're in here, does operate as a fully functional mailbox. So you could actually send email directly from bracket if you need to. We've had people in like outage situations where their, server goes down, something breaks, internet's out, whatever happens. They'll hop on their phone, hop into bracket, and then start replying from there. Just depending on what breaks. So bracket is a little bit of redundancy as well. And then the final feature is bracket share. When we initially ran bracket, the bracket's been around for 8 years now. It's been a while. We found within the first 2 years that around 76% of all email passed through bracket was just attachments. And so what we did was we added bracket share. And what this does is you can just drag and drop files, and it acts as a secure file sharing system. Once again, these files are kept in here for 1 year and then removed after the year. If you need to archive them or store them longer, again, your IT provider can help set that up. My favorite part of bracket share is this link down here. If anybody clicks on this link or goes to this link, they can upload a file to me. It will be scanned for viruses, malware, phishing, all the bad stuff. And then it will notify me in my inbox that Jim sent you a secure file. I click on it and I can get that file. So this has been crazy useful for me as someone who analyzes bad email. I can send them this, put it in there, see if bracket would have caught it as a bad email. If it doesn't get caught, I can check through it. I know bracket did its checks, so maybe it's not malicious. That's just ways I use it. I know my father-in-law is a lawyer. He uses bracket. He'll just send someone the link and say, hey, can you upload me all the documents? And then the other law office will simply drag and drop 20 documents in there, and then he'll get them all securely over encryption. Super, super easy. And we've tried to make it as easy as we can while making it up to that encryption standard. So
Cody, a follow-up
Mm.
question to that regarding bracket. Can you limit or turn off the ability to allow modifications of the email chain?
Oh, so that's what you were showing that you could delete. Wouldn't
So
it be
only
whoever owns the
Mhm.
license?
Only the bracket owner can edit those, so none of the actual recipients can. And if you need true like non-edited email, you can set up an archiving service, which is something that stores email in an unedited format, basically can't be changed. So it would capture everything, even if it was deleted or removed. But all in all, I think if the answer was only the person who has a bracket license can remove those, or the owner of the thread. So only me as the bracket account owner. So hopefully that helps. If that wasn't it, then let me know. But that's the long and short of it. Cool. Final kind of note here. This can store up to 25 attachments that are 1 GB each. So that's way more than your email. Your email can only store up to 256 megabytes per email, and that's the whole email. So the largest file you can attach is usually around 150 megabytes, which is tiny. People are uploading like movies and Loom videos and YouTube videos and things like that with Bracket and sending it over secure channel. So sweet. That's Bracket. That's the whole thing. Um, any other questions around? Oh, I think it did answer the question. Great. I've accomplished my mission. So, sweet. So that's Shield and Bracket. All in all, Bracket can be added to Shield. Bracket can also be its own standalone product. As Todd said, it's an add-on product as well. So you don't have to have, one or the other. But this is, yeah, in general how Bracket functions. So cool. Any other questions, or I mean, Catherine or Todd, if you can think of anything you want me to cover, I'm here. So
No other questions in the quick Q&A or the chat so far. Todd, did you want to share your own experience of what a difference having this has made for you?
I would say again, at the kickoff, we were looking for progressive change to our stack for security. This gives us, I think, a much better security posture um, for ourselves and all of our clients, going with the zero trust. In terms of bracket that he showed you, everyone needs occasionally an option to be able to send secure information encrypted so that it's not out there in the internet, so nobody can, scrape that private information, especially if you're sending, some personal identifiable information, somebody's address or, something you don't want out there. I need that as a business owner, so it's been very helpful to me, and I don't have to explain how it works to people on the other end that can just open it and get what they need. So to me, you can't really get any easier than that. Um, to Cody's point, it does require engagement for you to get this working for you. You're not going to lose any email. It's just a matter of where it's going to land as it learns. So I personally had to drag a few things back from junk or push things to junk in both directions. But it's easy to drag and drop, and the software does learn. So I would encourage, everyone who's attended, um, I would encourage you to give it a try. I definitely think it's a modern and much better way to view your email. And I don't see any real downside to it other than maybe you're spending more time on it initially than you'd like to. But the rewards are great. I mean, you can really reduce the amount that you get and feel a lot safer and more secure.
Great, thank you. Any final questions before I switch to the drawing? Okay. And if questions come up later, please feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to answer them. Actually, let me just stop the recording for a second here. There we go.